stakes in that.
Wait. Quiet.
There's been a report out that 48 bomb threats have been made against Jewish centers all across the country in the last couple of weeks. There are people who are committing anti-Semitic acts or threatening to...
You see, he said he was going to ask a very simple, easy question. And it's not. It's not a simple question, not a fair question. Okay, sit down. I understand the rest of your question. So here's the story, folks. Number one, I am the least anti-Semitic person that you've ever seen in your entire life. Number two, racism. The least racist person. In fact, we did very well relative to other people running as a Republican. Quiet. See, he lied about, he was going to get up and ask a very straight, simple question. So, it's welcome to the world of the media.
You said that the leaks are real, but the news is fake. I guess I don't understand. It seems that there's a disconnect there. If the information coming from those leaks is real, then how can the stories be fake?
No, the reporting is fake.
And if I may ask, I just want to ask...
Jim, you know what it is? Here's the thing. The public isn't, they read newspapers, they see television, they watch. They don't know if it's true or false.
Why not just say it's a story I don't like?
I do that.
Call it fake news.
No, I do
You're
that.
undermining confidence in our news media.
Here's the thing.
Isn't
okay,
that important?
I understand what and you're right about that, except this. See, I know when I should get good and when I should get bad. And sometimes I'll say, wow, that's going to be a great story. And I'll get killed. I know what's good and bad. I'd be a pretty good reporter, not as good as you. And we're also standing up to social media censorship. That's the new thing. I'd rather have fake news like CNN. I would rather have fake news, it's true, than have anybody, including liberals, socialists, anything, than have anybody stopped and censored. We got to live with it. We got to get used to it. We're going to live with fake news. There's too many sources. Every one of us is sort of like a newspaper. You have Twitter, you have whatever you have, Facebook. But everyone, you can't have censorship. You can't pick one person and say, well, we don't like what he's been saying, he's out.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to challenge you on one of the statements that you made in the tail end of the campaign in the midterms.
Here we go.
If you don't mind, Mr. President, that this caravan was an invasion. As you know, Mr. President,
I consider it to be an invasion.
As you know, Mr. President, the caravan was not an invasion. It's a group of migrants moving up from Central America towards the border with the U.S.
Thank you for telling me that.
Why did you characterize it as such?
Because I consider it an invasion. You and I have a difference of opinion.
But do you think that you demonized immigrants in this election to try to keep...
I want them to come into the country, but they have to come in legally. They have to come in, Jim, through a process. I want it to be a process. And I want people to come in, and we need the people.
Your campaign...
Wait. You know why we need the people, don't you? Because we have hundreds of companies moving in. We need the people.
But your campaign had an ad showing migrants climbing over walls and so on.
Well, that's true. But they weren't actors.
They're not going to be doing that.
They weren't actors. Well, no, it's true. Do you think they were actors? They weren't actors. They didn't come from Hollywood. Right. These were people. This was an actual... it happened a few days ago, and...
They're hundreds of miles away, though. They're hundreds and hundreds of miles away. That's not an invasion.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country, you run CNN, and if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question...
What CNN should be ashamed of itself, having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. You're a very rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible, and the way you treat other people are horrible. You shouldn't treat people that way. Go ahead. Just sit down, please. Well, when you report fake news, when you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people. Go ahead.
Mr. President, over the course...
Thank you very much. We're here today to defend free speech from one of the gravest dangers it has faced in American history, frankly. And you know what's going on as well as anybody. It's not good. A small handful of powerful social media monopolies controls a vast portion of all public and private communications in the United States, and we know what they are. We don't have to name them. We're going to give you a complete listing. We're going to give you a signed copy of what I'm going to be signing in a couple of minutes, and you'll see exactly what we're doing. They've had unchecked power to censor, restrict, edit, shape, hide, alter virtually any form of communication between private citizens or large public audiences. There's no precedent in American history for so small a number of corporations to control so large a sphere of human interaction, and that includes individual people controlling vast amounts of territory, and we can't allow that to happen. The choices that Twitter makes when it chooses to suppress, edit, blacklist, shadow, ban are editorial decisions, pure and simple. They're editorial decisions. In those moments, Twitter ceases to be a neutral public platform and they become an editor with a viewpoint. And I think we can say that about others also, whether you're looking at Google, whether you're looking at Facebook, and perhaps others. One egregious example is when they try to silence views that they disagree with by selectively applying a fact check, F-A-C-T, fact check. What they choose to fact check and what they choose to ignore or even promote is nothing more than a political activism group or political activism. And it's inappropriate. You look at what's happened, you look at where they're going, where they're coming from. I think you all see it yourselves. This censorship and bias is a threat to freedom itself. Imagine if your phone company silenced or edited your conversation. Social media companies have vastly more power and more reach than any phone company in the United States, more reach actually than your newspapers, by far. More reach than a lot of your traditional forms of communication. Therefore, today I'm signing an executive order to protect and uphold the free speech and rights of the American people. Currently, social media giants like Twitter receive an unprecedented liability shield based on the theory that they're a neutral platform, which they are not an editor with a viewpoint. My executive order calls for new regulations under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act to make it that social media companies that engage in censoring or any political conduct will not be able to keep their liability shield. That's a big deal.
So I woke up this morning and our London Real corporate page was gone and my personal Brian Rose page was completely obliterated from the site, which is crazy. I didn't get any notifications from them. Nothing was taken down. I've just been banned. So far we've been banned by YouTube, been banned by Facebook, been banned by Vimeo, banned by Dropbox. Now look, I'm not a victim. I don't care, fuck them, you know? And I'm gonna keep moving forward. This will not change my editorial opinion. And this still does not change how I feel. And that is that we have the right to speak our minds, that freedom of speech is important and the freedom of press is important. And I am an advocate for free speech, always have been. And
my weirdo friend, is freedom of speech important to you? It's important to me. That's why I'm bringing you this video version of my podcast. Now, I never put my podcast out on this platform, but this is the most important podcast I've ever done because it's about helping you and I crusade for our freedom of speech. It's being infringed on. So very quickly, before I introduce my guest, Brian Rose, we'll switch to the video version of the podcast in a second, but I got censored on YouTube and it didn't feel good. And I realized, man, I'm waking up to how prevalent censorship is, one of our prime civil liberties. So I thought, who is leading the charge, the premier pioneer in the world leading the charge against censorship and crusading for freedom of speech? And it's Brian Rose.
I want to share with you, last week I got censored on YouTube and it didn't feel good. I and my audience, we need to hear where you've been, what you've learned, what we can do. I've heard you say many times, and I get goosebumps each time I hear you say it. I might not agree with everything you have to say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. Why are you willing to stand up for even people being able to speak their minds when you disagree with them?
we've always been a platform for free speech. We've always brought people on with differing views, and I've sat in this chair. Mainly my job is to shut up, really, and listen. And I've had people that I've strongly disagreed with that over the years I've actually agreed with, and vice versa. I've had people that I've started off agreeing with, and then later I think they're wrong. And it's shown me that it's important to entertain other points of view, and not just to attack them and vilify them and talk over them, which is kind of what's in our popular culture to do right now, and to categorize them, and it's your team versus my team. And I can think of the guests that have literally changed my life because I was open-minded enough to listen to them. And that could be Dan Pena, the $1 trillion man, who I thought was some type of Bond villain when he came on my show. This guy's got a castle in Scotland. He wears a 3-piece suit. He used to be in the oil business. He's like a ruthless businessman. I didn't like his vibe, but he ended up changing my life. I had Mantak Chia on here talking about sexual energy and massaging your organs. In the chair, he made me really uncomfortable with my Puritan American background. But later I realized this guy really understood the body better than medical doctors. And it goes on and on. I've had Rose McGowan here who kicked off the Me Too movement, giving her point of view. I've had people from the left, people from the right. So it's something we were doing. And be honest with you, JP, nobody was paying too much attention until almost exactly 4 months ago when I was doing what I normally do here. I had someone in the studio. We were broadcasting a long form conversation, unscripted, unedited, uncensored, as normal. And it happened to be a guy named David Icke, who's known for some conspiracy theories who, again, I didn't necessarily want on the show a few years ago, but finally I acquiesced and I thought, you know what, maybe I can learn something from this guy. And every single time I had him on, the more I thought, man, this guy is speaking a lot of truth. Okay, a little crazy, but a lot of truth too. And so we had him on for, I think, the third time on the show. And it ended up, no, the fourth time. It was April 6th. It ended up being the second largest YouTube live stream in the world that day. Second only to President Trump's coronavirus briefing that day. And it was so big, based on the previous live stream, we figured this episode was going to go on to be watched 30 or 40 million times, which would have made it the biggest video podcast in history, just above like Joe Rogan, Elon Musk numbers. Based on the number of concurrent viewers versus the previous stream we did with him that had just gotten 10 million views. It was 4x the live stream. So I'm not crazy by thinking this would have gone to 40 million. And we were sitting out there in the offices, kind of basking in the glow. It was a great conversation. And one of my guys said, it's just been deleted from YouTube. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I've never had a video deleted and banned from YouTube. And my initial reaction, and Alex Jones asked me this from InfoWars, he said, Brian, how did you know to fight back? My initial reaction was, fuck that. That's just, it's just wrong, you know? And maybe it's because I grew up in America where freedom of speech is, I think, just in the DNA. And I thought, that's not right. So my initial reaction was to re-upload it and to start doing vlogs and saying, this is bullshit. And my initial reaction was, there's something wrong about this. This is a 68-year-old man sitting in a leather chair, speaking calmly, not asking for revolution, destruction of property, overthrows of governments, just putting out some ideas that you as an adult with the sovereignty of your own body can choose to accept or not. And that was being denied on this platform that it seems to embody freedom of speech. It just seemed completely wrong to me. So I had this visceral reaction of, no, this is not happening. So we fought back, and that's been our story the last 4 months.
So it was Google. Oh yeah, Google. Yeah, we just got a search engine. We can find what we like. That's great. Hey, and social media. Oh, you post to your friends. You can say what you like. There's no censorship. Isn't it great? Yeah. And then it builds, and then it builds, and then it builds. And now you've reached a point now with Facebook where it claims 2.2 billion active users in a global population of 7.5 billion. You have this 90% monopoly on search engines, searches of Google. You have YouTube, which has got basically a monopoly on the posting of internet videos, which is owned by Google. And once this monopolistic situation was reached, then they started saying, okay, now we've got this much control. We're going to start deciding what you see and what you don't see. It's fishing line out. Oh, it ain't great. Yeah, right. Say what you like. You know, no censorship. Ooh, gotcha. And so we now have Facebook that is systematically censoring information outside of the official narrative. We have this situation with Facebook and Twitter now, which is known as ghost banning, which they do to me, which is you post it, but all the people that would like to see it and I've liked or followed would like to see it, they don't see it. Only a few of them see it. The vast majority don't see it because of ghost banning. They just don't circulate it. And you now have, as blatant as can be, YouTube is just deleting large and greater all the time numbers of channels that are presenting a different narrative to the official one across the swathe of subjects that are just being deleted. They're just being deleted without any explanation. Just that you've broken our guidelines. What guidelines? Well, he's doing something different, something the same rather, and he's not breaking your guidelines. But oh, hold on a minute, he's saying the official narrative is true.
In America, and not just me, there are hundreds of people who have voices and opinions like mine that are banned from appearing on radio or television shows. They are banned to be discussed or talked about in newspapers or magazines, unless it's in a derogatory fashion. That's how it works. That is how it works. One of the most popular new television shows is on True TV. TRU-TV, True TV, called Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura, former governor of Minnesota. Now that's a pretty credible guy, a former governor. He's also a former U.S. Navy SEAL. He was banned from television because of his political views against the Iraq War for 3 years. They banned him. You never saw him on U.S. TV. He was on television overseas, but they would not allow him to voice his opinions in the United States. We have censorship in America. We do not have free speech, and we do not have a free press. Jesse was banned. Then this company, True TV, put together a TV show. It has become one of the, if not the highest rated shows on True TV. If you've not seen the show, you must. It's on tonight, Wednesday night, 9 o'clock Central Time. That's 10 o'clock East Coast Time. Check your local listings. True TV, Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura. It's an hour show and it's fantastic. He's already getting pressure. And even though the ratings are through the roof, and even though the sponsorship is through the roof, he may already get canceled. That shows you the censorship that happens in America.
Thinking for yourself and stop waiting for the government or the media to think for you. We're in big trouble. Humanity is in big trouble. And this is the last chance, humanity, for you to get out of this situation. Because once they vaccinate billions of people, you will never ever be the same again. It's going to alter your DNA. And that's what this is all about. Let me just tell you this. To see how screwed up the Matrix is, you can play video games, killing people, murdering people, Call of Duty, but they don't want you talking about the elephant in the room, which is this ridiculous lockdown, which is this ridiculous government mandated muzzle, which is this ridiculous taking away your freedoms, taking away your freedoms. So the inorganic ones created what we call cancel culture. And cancel culture is actually going to be the new conspiracy theory, conspiracy theorist. So if they don't like what someone is saying, they will cancel them, i.e. David Icke on YouTube, banned, cancelled. But wait a minute, we won't cancel someone who's playing video games, murdering other people. We have to not let them cancel people who are speaking up about the truth. Because if they do, you are going to have nobody left to stand up for you.
We are wall one energy. I've heard it from different people in different words of different races and sexes and religions. And it all comes down to that. Because again, it's some other knowledge. It's something that's a truism about us as humans.
And this is a 3D CHAV'S take on it. They don't ban me from, you know, saying that I like watching Anyways Essex, or they don't ban me from watching the news and saying how I like this newsreader, that weather girl. They don't ban me from giving product reviews and going shopping and going to the cinema and telling them how much I love the movie that I went to watch in the movie theatres and stuff like that. But yet they're censoring all these people talking about conspiracy theories, talking about not taking the vaccine, talking about this big agenda that's going on with this whole coronavirus, talking about the COVID-19 is not even what you think it is. It's not even a virus, it's a hoax, it's a scam, it's all part of the one world agenda to depopulate humanity. You know, all this is just absolute fake news for me. All I do is watch the real news and I just repeat what's on the real news and I don't get You know, the real news is your BBC News, your Fox News, your CNN, your Sky TV, your Guardian, your Telegraph, your The Sun newspaper. That's your trusted sources of information, okay? Basically, just switch on the television. All the stuff that comes on, you know, Jeremy Carl show and all that. That's what you should be watching, guys. You should be watching Anyways Essex, the Jeremy Carl show, the Jerry Springer show, if that's even still on, I don't know. And like BBC News, the Fox News, read all the newspapers. That's where you get your trusted sources of information. Read the nhs.gov website, read all the government information. That's what you need to do. And definitely go to the WHO, the World Health Organization. They're here to help you, they're here to serve you. And those are the guys you should be listening to. They're the ones that want to keep you safe and protected from this coronavirus. And remember, watch Bill Gates. Get the information from Bill Gates. He's here to talk to you about the vaccine, about the power of the vaccine, the efficacy of the vaccine, the effectiveness of it, that it's going to help you to beat this coronavirus and build your immune system. You need these extravenous injections, okay? Bill Gates is here to help you guys. All these conspiracy theorists talking about how he's evil and he's a psychopath and all that kind of malarkey. It's absolute bull, okay? That's the real news, guys. So stay safe, guys. Social distance and remember to wear your mask. You know, I really feel so important, like I'm making a difference to the world, you know, like I'm providing a service and telling you guys to stay safe and watch the news and be informed with the trusted sources. You know, I feel so proud of myself. Like, I'm not just this blonde bimbo from Essex. I'm actually very smart. Ain't that right, Dave? Oh, thanks, babe. He's my rock, honestly. Well, you've been watching Katie from Essex and Chav's take on it. Stay safe, guys. Mwah. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel, and for more inspirational quotes, check out my Instagram at freedompreneur_lifestyle.
Did he tell me why? Has anybody told you?